Hello early stagers, it's Miss Amelia here. I am excited to do a really fun activity with you today to create a shadow puppet theatre. Now you will need an adult with you because there are a couple of things they will need to help out with. If you're not very confident writing or reading, then they can help you with the booklet to create your story. You may also need some help cutting out some things. So hello adults, if you can stick around for a little while, that would be really helpful, just so that we can make the most out of our little workshop. So to start us off, what is a shadow puppet? It's a really good question. So we have lots of shadow puppets on our workbook. Now I've created a dragon, a princess, fairy godmother, a king, a witch and a knight. So we have 6 whole characters, but if you'd like you can create some more. Now what we will do is we will cut these out, pop them onto something like a stick or a pen or a pencil, and we will be able to shine a light through something and create shadows of your characters, and we'll be able to tell a story. So that's our plan for today. Now I'm going to work through with you every single page of this workbook, and then you feel free to spend as long or as little time as you want playing in your shadow puppet theatre. It is entirely up to you how long you want to spend on this, but it is really fun and something that hopefully you can play with again as well. So to start us off, on the front page it tells you all the things you need. Ideally, if you could have the workbook printed, then that's great. That saves you a little bit of time as well. But if you do not have a printer handy, don't worry, this can all be done without the use of a printer. Just make sure you've got some paper, and unfortunately it will take you a little bit longer to sort all of this out. But make sure you can see on a screen on a phone or a laptop this workbook, because that will help as well. So you need some paper. You also need some pencils or lollipop sticks or pens or anything really that you'll be able to stick to the back of your shadow puppets. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's something that you don't mind using as a temporary prop. And the next thing you'll need is scissors. I just have my standard scissors like this. If you have child safety ones, that's great. That means that children will be able to help you with the cutting out. But if you don't, then maybe leave the cutting to an adult. You'll need a plain sheet or a pillow. Now, it's up to you how big your shadow puppet theatre is. I recommend using a pillow. That's what I currently have set up here. But if you only have a sheet, then that's fine too. I'd recommend making it as light a colour as possible. It doesn't matter if it isn't white. It can be any colour really. Maybe something like navy or black might be a little bit too dark, but it might still work. It basically just needs to be something that you can shine a light through and still be able to see what's on the other side. I've picked a sheet or a pillowcase just because I know we have these lying around, but if you have a blanket or something that's thin as well, that might work. It's entirely up to you. And the last thing on our last 2 things on our list are Stella Tape. If you're using one of these and it does have sharp bits, children, please be careful. Again, adults might need to help with that. And a torch or a light. Now, I'm using my phone to show you how easy it is to do this at home. iPhones have varying level of light, so you can pick how bright it is. It's super easy. Most people have a phone handy in the house. If you cannot give this up for X amount of hours for them to be playing though, I do understand maybe a light that doesn't get too hot or a torch might be better. It basically just needs to be something that can shine through the sheet or pillowcase that you have. Okay. The next thing that you'll need to do is make sure that all of these are cut out. This does take a little while, but I promise it's worth it. They don't have to be perfect. You are basically just going to be seeing the edges, the edge outlines. So if you want to make them a little bit different, then that's completely up to you. So if you want to take a minute to cut these out, that's great. If you're not using my templates and you're creating your own because you don't have access to a printer, this does take a little while. The children can use mine as a rough template if they want, but also you may need to help them a little bit. It doesn't really matter what the picture looks like, as long as it's coloured in black or a dark colour, so that it definitely stands out when you're holding it behind the theatre. It's fine. So just some rough templates here for you at the back of the worksheet. But again, if you are doing it at home, it will take a little bit longer, so I'm sorry about that. But you don't necessarily need all the characters, as long as you have the ones that they include in their story. That should be fine. So I'll give you a little while now just to sort all of that out. Once you are done cutting out your characters, grab your sellotape and your pencils and just sellotape your pens or pencils onto the back with a couple of sheets of sellotape. I don't know how well you can see that, but I've just got 2 sheets of sellotape on the back there of our fairy godmother. So once they're all done, and you have your own pictures created, head back over and I will carry on going through our lovely shadow puppet workshop. See you in a minute. Okay, so hopefully you have all got those cut out, or you've created your own and cut those out. The next thing you need to do is fill out our story sheet. Now this is where the adult with you will have to help you if you are going to struggle reading a little bit or writing a little bit. But I do recommend you try your best to fill this in yourself, okay? Now I've already filled mine in. I've decided on my story. But if you want to work through this with me, you're welcome to. Or if you want to do it on your own, that's fine as well. I'm just going to go through everything I've picked in my story, okay? So, it starts here. Once upon a time, there was. And you need to pick between the knight or the princess. Whichever one you would like to be the main character in your story, you pick that now. Okay? The next line of our story is, everybody knew that they were blank and blank, and you need to pick any of these words or a word on your own, so you can create your own character's traits for your princess or knight. So I've picked, everybody knew that they were kind and honest, but if you wanted to pick another word, that's amazing and really good creativity. Make sure that you're being as creative and as imaginative as possible when filling these out. I really want to hear your stories when you're back at Stagecoach. Okay, so once you've filled those in, we'll move on to the next page. Here we go. So this one's quite an exciting one. This says, one day the evil witch put a curse on the king. She turned him into... And there are lots of animals here. You can also pick your own animal if you like. We don't have puppets for them, so it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you like. I picked a frog because that is my favourite of the animals there. So I've picked that the king got turned into a frog. Uh-oh. Okay. The next little bit of the story is this. Then the witch told the people to do what she said. If they didn't listen, then her scary dragon would. Okay, this one is something I think you can come up with your own idea for. But if you really are struggling, you can use one of ours, don't worry. But the options here are breathe fire over the kingdom. Of course the dragon would do that. They breathe fire all the time. How scary. Stomp across the kingdom. Or roar at everyone in the kingdom. That's what I've chosen, because I thought that would be quite scary if a dragon were to do that. Okay. The next page. The knight and the princess knew they had to save the kingdom. They need to protect themselves. Pick their weapon. So here you have a magic wand, a slingshot, a magical spell book and a sword. So that's actually very tricky, but I've chosen the slingshot. I thought that'd be really cool to be able to throw a little stone or a pea or something to stop the dragon if they came to town. Okay. They needed to find the witch and her creepy cabin. Which way should they go? Right, well this one, I've picked the scary woods because I thought that would make a really interesting part of the story. But you can also pick the happy meadow or the high hills, or if you have an even better idea for a path, you can pick that too. It's up to you. I have no rules on this story. You can add anything you like into the works, okay? We have found the magic cabin, but we cannot get in. It is locked. We need magic. Okay, so we need to pick a spell that will help call the fairy godmother. So we have Hocus Pocus, Abracadabra, or Bibbity Bobbity Boo. I've picked Hocus Pocus because I think that's the best spell of all time. So I would use Hocus Pocus. And when we're doing this with our puppets, I really want you to use your voice to tell the story and say this magical spell in the biggest, most exciting voice you can, okay? So remember that for later. The fairy godmother has arrived and has let you into the cabin. She has told you to find the witch's favourite belonging. Okay, on here you have a potion, a wand, a cat or a broomstick to pick from. You can pick whichever one you want. Again, if you have something else that she might have, maybe a cauldron, then that's also a good idea and you can pop that on there too. You can maybe draw yourself a little cauldron. I've gone with a wand because a magic wand is so important to every story, and I think if a witch didn't have her magic wand, she wouldn't be nearly as powerful, would she? So that's my choice, but you can pick whatever you like. Now you have this item, you can stop the dragon. Amazing, good job. But you need to stick together. Who should lead the way? So here we have the outlines of the princess, the fairy godmother and the knight. I thought that the brave knight might be a good idea to lead the way, but you can pick whoever you want. Again, no matter who you think should lead the way, it is always the right answer. Well done. You have made it to the dragon's cave. Shh! The dragon is sleeping. How do you enter the cave? Now this is an important decision in your story because it could change the story completely. Everybody could end up with totally different stories here. So you can either tiptoe really quietly, march like a soldier, or dance in, or maybe you've got something even better as an idea, but I've chosen dance because you guys know I love to boogie at Stagecoach, and I thought that would be the best way for our characters to leave the cave, or to go into the cave, sorry, go into the cave. Okay. You can see the king locked in a cage. That means he's no longer his animal. Well done. You must have done something along the way. You must use the right key. Which one do you choose? Okay, well I picked number 1, but I'm thinking maybe it might be number 2 or number 3. What do you think? Make sure you pick the right key for your story. Well done. You have set the king free. Quick, get out before the dragon wakes up. Okay, you need to pick something to do before you leave the cave. So here we have try a magical potion, have a party. Who has a party in a dragon's den? Look at the gold coins and the treasure, or tickle the dragon's belly. Oh my goodness, that's what I've picked. I thought that's what I'd do if I was in a cave with a dragon. I'd tickle his belly. Again, you can pick whatever you like. It's all about using your ideas and your creative ideas into this story. So if you think of something better, put that in there too. Maybe pop it at the bottom as another idea. Oh no, you have woken the dragon. Run away. What sound do you make as you leave? So again, I've just given you 3 ideas. We've got oops, wow, or oh. But you could put anything you like. So maybe you'd go, ah, whatever you want. So I've gone for oops, because I thought it was silly of me to tickle the dragon's belly. That was silly, wasn't it? So make sure you come up with something interesting for that part of the story. Then we have the witch has heard you. Quick, use a new magic spell to stop her and the dragon. once and for all. So we have, again, lots of magical spells here. We have 1, 2, 3, Magical Me, Alakazam, Hubble Bubble Toil and Trouble, Bish Bash Bosh, and Expelliarmus. So many magical spells to choose from, but if you have something that you could make up, maybe a magical spell, or if you know one, then maybe you could add that in here and add it to the story. I've gone for 1, 2, 3, Magical Me. And remember, as I said earlier, when we do the spells with our puppet theatre, you will need to make sure that you are using lots of enthusiasm and energy when you say those, okay? Now we're on to our last page. How did that go so quickly? Okay, this says, congratulations, you have saved the kingdom. And they all lived... ... You need to decide how this story ends. This is the most important bit of any story, is how it ends. So I've given you some ideas here. We have happily ever after. We have they all lived together in a castle and they had a party. Oh, very exciting. Or we have they all lived with the dragon as the new king. That's a bit crazy. Or they all lived as best friends forever. So I've picked happily ever after, but again, you can come up with anything you like. We've just given you some ideas, and if you want to use them, then go ahead. But if you have something better, I recommend using that too. Okay. Hopefully now you'll have a chance to either go through the workbook with an adult, or you may have been pausing it and going along as I was doing it. It's entirely up to you how you want to go through that, but make sure it's all filled out and looking wonderful with writing here. Maybe you want to circle things, it's entirely up to you. Make these wonderful and magical, and then we are on to our shadow puppet theatre. So once you've done all of that, tune back in and we will go on to our next step of the workshop. Hello and welcome back. So as you can see, here is my little puppet theatre. All I've used is my lamp, and I've sellotaped a little bit of sellotape here to hold it on, and my bookshelf I've also just popped a little bit of sellotape here to make my puppet theatre. I've popped my phone behind, and as you can see, we have a puppet shadow theatre. Now, it's important to know some of the rules when using our puppet theatre, okay? If you have your hand behind here, just practice for a minute, you can create some really awesome things. So this is our little dog when we move our little finger like this. Okay, now we can make the dog quite small if we bring our hand really close to the material, but if we bring our hand further back, as you can see, our dog gets bigger, so we can use that in our story. Now it's important that we don't go behind here ourselves, because if we did, then all they'd see is a big head, and they don't want to see that, do they? No. So you need to be really clever and only go in with your hands, okay? Now, we've already done the hard work and we have written our story. And now you get to have fun and create a wonderful story using our shadow puppet theatre, okay? Now I have my story in front of me and I'm going to show you how to use your new puppets. So hopefully you have all of these printed out, either your own versions or these. Okay, now you can also use them in front if you want, but I think when they're behind they are a little bit more exciting. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my princess. She looks like this, because my story starts, once upon a time there was a princess. So I'm going to pop her behind here, and here she is, here's my princess. Now I might play with her like this. Maybe she likes dancing or singing. You can create a little bit of dialogue, some words for her to say, just like if we were doing a script at Stagecoach. Okay, you can move her around however you like. Remember, if I put her really close, she's small, or if I bring her really far away towards the wall, she gets big. Okay, so it's up to you how big she is. Everybody knew that she was kind and honest. One day, the evil Witch. Okay, wow. Our witch looks really scary, flying on her broomstick. You can do whatever you like with them. I want you to have a real play, have lots of fun. Maybe even you can put the backing track on that I have attached into Dropbox. It's of magical, interesting sounds that might help accompany this story. So use your witch in any way you like. Maybe she'll cackle as she flies through. It's totally up to you. Okay, so she put a curse on the king, who is here, and turned him into a frog. So maybe he might jump up and disappear when he turns into a frog. It's up to you. The witch told people to do what she said. If they didn't listen, the scary dragon would, and mine is roar at everyone. So here's something to use with the dragon. If we had a dragon and we had a princess, would the princess be really big and the dragon be really small? Or would the princess be quite small and the dragon be quite big? What do we think? See how we can play with them like this? So it's entirely up to you how you want to play. But I want you to go through your stories and come up with something really exciting and magical. And once you've run through your whole story, maybe you want to add other things on as well. It's totally up to you. I just want you to have lots and lots of fun. Okay, that's the main thing, is to have lots and lots of fun and create something magical like we would in class. I think you're going to do an amazing job. I'm excited to hear from mums and dads how well you get on. And I really, really hope that you manage to not just use this for the story today, but maybe use it in some more of your time at home as well. Thank you so much for joining our little workshop. Sorry for me being so crouched down. I probably should have turned it here. And I hope that you have a little bit of a smile when you do this and have a bit of a play. Yeah, that's about everything from me. Thank you for joining. Enjoy your shadow workshop and your theatre extravaganza at home. Maybe send Miss Faye some pictures if you manage to make something brilliant. We'd love to see it. Keep positive, keep smiling, have lots of fun, and I'm excited to see you when we're back at Stagecoach. Bye-bye.